Another way that we have breakthroughs is through listening to and we've been talking about dreams, but I think by listening to our night dreams, those dreams that we have while we're sleeping. And what's interesting to me is there's been some amazing discoveries that have happened because of people dreaming in their sleep. Did you know that sewing machines came from a dream? Elias Howe, who invented the sewing machine in 1845, he had the template and he's trying to figure it out, but he put the hole in the needle in the middle of the needle, and it wasn't working, and he's like, I don't know, this isn't working, and he fell asleep and he had a dream, that he was captured by these people who had spears, and the spears had holes at the top, and when he woke up he was like, that's it, put the hole in the top. A needle, of course. And so he created the sewing machine. Kekule dreamed the benzene molecule. He actually saw it in a dream, and you still have to do your research and you still have to show up, but he saw it. Stephen King said that some of his stories come from dreams. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was a dream that somebody wrote down. The Twilight series that's really popular, she dreamed that as well. But this is what Stephen King said about dreams. He said, I've always used dreams the way you'd use mirrors to look at something that you couldn't see head on. The way that you use a mirror to look at the back of your hair. To me, that's what dreams are supposed to do. And I think that dreams are a way that people's minds illustrate the nature of their problems. So it's important that we listen to our dreams. Now, my dog, Geo, a little wire-haired dachshund, has been sick, or got sick in May. And she would scream. If I opened a door, she'd scream, or she would just scream. And she didn't play, and she still would eat, but she would hide and sleep most of the time. So I took her to the vet, and the vet said that she thought it was her pancreas, because I do feed my dog people food, and I know you're not supposed to do that. So we put the dog on a fast and fed her bland food, and of course she wasn't happy about that either. And she wasn't getting better, and I wasn't but the doctor's like, well, give it a chance, you need to give it a chance to work. So I left town, and in my dream I saw her, and I saw how she was walking, and I woke up and I thought very clearly, this has nothing to do with her pancreas, it's her back. It's got to be her back. So when I came home, I took her back to the vet and I said, I'm sorry, but it's not her pancreas. And so we did a blood test just to make sure. And of course, they're talking about MRIs and X-rays, and you can hear the ka-ching, 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 $1,000 here and $1,000 there. And so rather than do that, I said, let's just treat her. So they gave her anti-inflammatories and really heavy-duty doggy painkillers, like morphine kind of doggy things. And she was fine. She's very happy. She's very happy running around on her doggy painkillers. It was great. My dog was back. Well, 3 weeks after she started taking the painkillers, they stopped working. Just out of the blue, just stopped working. She went back to screaming. She went back to hiding. And I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if I have to put her down. So another aspect of a breakthrough is doing something that you never did before, trying something totally new. So one of the chaplains, Diane Robertson, said, why don't you take her to a doggy chiropractor? And I'm like, I don't know, okay. So I call this place, no, they don't take new patients. So I ended up in Lindvig, Googling. And I walked into this place, and of course they give you a sheet that says you're going to pay the bill, of course, but also you understand that this treatment may not work at all. And I thought, well, this could be a really good scam for people to get money because they love their animals. Anyway, I take my dog in. The vet looks at her and he does some things and he says, it's her neck. It's her neck that's bothering her. And he said, I can't do practic on her, but I can do acupuncture. I'm like, okay. So my dog gets the little needles in her head and up and down her back, and long story short, 3 weeks of this, and she's totally healed. She's perfect. So I went from looking, yay, my dog, I went from wondering, am I going to have to put this dog down because she's in such pain, to having a breakthrough of her being her old self again. And I swear to God, she's even smarter. I think acupuncture connected some synapses in her brain because she's even smarter than she was before. So the ways that we have breakthrough is by saying yes to our good through generosity, through following and acting, to hearing and acting on our guidance, through doing things differently and listening to our night dreams because they come at us in a different way that we wouldn't normally look at. And finally, the last way I think that breakthroughs happen is through community. Jesus said, whenever two or more are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. And that means that when we come together collectively, that as particularly in prayer for a higher purpose, something better than what we could have imagined comes out of that. And I think that right now we're living in a time where we need to come up with solutions to some of the global problems that we're experiencing. And I saw the Harry Potter movie last week when I was in Idaho. It was a blessing because my children were raised with Harry Potter. I began reading them the Harry Potter books probably 12 years ago, and then once they could read on their own, they just left me in the dust and kept reading. And their whole childhood has been about Harry Potter. And they're the same age as Harry and Ron and Hermione, so they've been a part of us. And so we all went to the movies last Thursday or Friday. And it was like the end of their childhood. You know, it was this rite of passage. But what was interesting to me about the conclusion of Harry Potter was the way it involved the entire community. Because if you know the Harry Potter series at all, Harry is the chosen one. Yeah, he's chosen because he's got that mark on his forehead, and only he can defeat the darkness. Only he can defeat Voldemort. But in the end, it isn't he who can do it by himself. He needs Ron, he needs Hermione, he even needs Neville Longbottom, who kills the snake. And the truth is that every single character who was involved, and it went beyond them, it was the whole community. Every single one of them had a part to play in defeating the darkness. Every single one of them had a part to play in defeating Voldemort. Without one of them, it wouldn't have happened. And I think this is a wonderful template that shows where we're going. Because we're moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. We're moving from, it's no longer about one person that's going to come save us, right? There's not one person that's going to come save us. It's all of us. And so each one of us needs to have our own personal breakthroughs. Each one of us needs to explore and discover what our dreams are, because we need to move to the next breakthrough together. We need to move through it collectively. Now, I know that because of the events that happened this week, that sometimes it feels that we take 2 steps forward and not 3 steps back, but 10 or 20 or 50 steps back. And I think when something like what happened in Norway, or what happens in Libya, what happens in Pakistan, and what is always the violence that is happening in our own community in Kent, you know, yesterday, in Texas, it asks us to take these teachings to heart. We say every Sunday, there's only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good, omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience. And we can say, well, where's the good? Where is God in all of this? And the truth is, when these kinds of things happen, we're called to come together in community. We're called to come together in prayer. We're called to embrace, and if not completely understand, at least to love. Yeah? So community is one of the ways that we come together and have breakthroughs. Think about how things have changed since, say, 1992, 1993, when the internet was launched, when the internet sort of took off. It was before that period of time, if you had a computer, it cost you a lot of money. I mean, they still cost a lot of money, but not as much. Or trying to gather information was difficult. Now, information is available to us instantaneously because of the internet. When I used to write sermons back in the 90s, I mean, I really had to plan out far in advance. I had to order books from the library. I had to figure out what I was doing. Now, I still have to figure out what I'm doing, but now I can sit down at the computer and the whole world is right there. And I can discover and read and find out listen to other lectures and find out what's going on in the world and in research just like that. If it was, say, 1990 and we looked back up to today, it would seem like a miracle, wouldn't it? That knowledge is available to us instantaneously and that we can connect with people all around the world. Sometimes for free. You can Skype your friends in other countries or across this country. You can Skype them for free. So we get information instantly. So where are we headed? That's the question that, we're all asking. Where are we going and where are we headed? We hear about 2012 and all of this stuff that's happening. And one of the things is that the planet Neptune just went into Pisces, yeah? And so when you look at that, it's like, and I know I'm speaking astrological language and I'll translate it, but Pisces is about intuition and connectedness, and it's about all that we don't know, all that existed before we were here, and it represents the collective consciousness and the collective unconsciousness. It's all of us. Now, the truth is we have free will. We can go in whatever direction we can. But imagine if we were to use the intuitive capabilities that we have to communicate not only with each other, but communicate with other species, communicate with the planet, and to feel it and to hear it in ways that we never had before. Imagine being, 20 years from now looking back and saying, wow, we sure came a long way. Just as when we look back at 1990 and we go, wow, look how far we've come in just gathering information. So it feels to me like there is a call out there and there is a breakthrough that is waiting to happen. And as we come together and not get discouraged by things that just happened, by one person who can do so much damage, to not focus on that, but to focus on the possibilities that are there, to focus on the truth that we believe, that there is one presence and one power, God the good omnipotence. So our call this week is to breakthroughs. Breakthroughs can happen when you're willing to say yes to your dream, when you're willing to say yes to keeping your word to yourself and nurturing yourself and doing what it is that you need to do to be here and to be healthy and to be awake. Breakthroughs can happen if you find yourself stuck through the practice of generosity, to give to that which you're feeling like you can't give anything to, but to give to it. Breakthroughs can happen through following divine guidance. Breakthroughs can happen by listening to our night dreams, and breakthroughs can happen in community. So I know that Raimi has already blessed Norway and troubled spots in the world, but I want to end this service by doing that. So I invite you to turn your attention within, and we say, Father, Mother, God, we're ready for a breakthrough. Are you ready for a breakthrough? Yes. Yes. We are ready to break through this illusion that there is not enough. We are ready to break through this illusion of evil in the world. And so we bless the people of Norway. We bless the people of Libya, of Pakistan, of Iraq, Afghanistan. Name out any place I'm leaving out. Greece. We bless our economy, not just our economy, but the global economy, because we stand in the place of generosity. We stand in the place of there is enough. And we bless all beings on this planet, not just human, but we bless the four-leggeds. We bless the trees, the mountains, the sky, the rain. May we break through. And it is so. Amen.